Welcome back, you lovely people. In the final video of this series on the Bitcoin dominance, we're going to focus on the 2021 bull market and try and use what's happened in the past to predict what may happen during the rest of the cycle and beyond. So coming back to our Bitcoin dominance chart, I'm now focusing in on what's happening in this cycle. And particularly, let's take this point here. This was January of 2021. This was the point where Bitcoin dominance started dropping from 70% to where we currently are, which is about 50%. So that's quite a big drop. One thing I'm noticing is that we started from 70%, and in 2017 we started from 86%, simply because the crypto market is more mature. There are more coins with more capital. So Bitcoin was starting from a smaller market share, and so far we're down to 50%. That's happened between January and where we are today, which is the beginning of May, so 4 months. Now this looks very similar, in fact almost identical to what happened in 2017, because this happened in the beginning of March, and in this cycle the halving was 2 months earlier. So it makes sense that we started in January and that we started in March here. And we've been falling in 2017, like we looked at last time, from 86%. By mid-June, we were down at 38%. So a sharp drop. Now we haven't quite dropped that sharply. We started to, and then we went sideways. That kind of looks like this recovery here, but sideways, and then falling again. Let's have a look at what's been going on this year. Well, since the turn of the year when this has been happening, Bitcoin's been going up. So since the turn of the year, Bitcoin is up about 110%, but the dominance has been falling. So that means altcoins have been significantly outperforming Bitcoin. And we'll use Ethereum Bitcoin chart to show that since the turn of the year. Ethereum has been going up significantly versus Bitcoin. So in total, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin by another 110% or so. So that's why it's been falling so far. Now we can use what happened in 2017 to try and determine what's going to happen next. And what we see in 2017 was that there was a point in time, which was in June, that this turned and Bitcoin then started outperforming altcoins again. So if we do follow a similar pattern to 2017, we would expect something similar to happen. But when? That's obviously the million-dollar question. And we know it's not happening yet because we continue to fall most days. And today, I'm just looking here, Bitcoin dominance minus 0.55%. So it continues to fall. And look at today, Bitcoin down 2% and Ethereum only down 0.5%. So that is the Bitcoin dominance falling. We are very interested in knowing when this turning point is, because if we know when Bitcoin is going to start outperforming altcoins, then at least we know when Bitcoin is going up and the altcoins are going up less. Why? Because this is happening like in 2017, but also we may want to adjust our portfolios. I always say to everybody that you should be at least 51% in Bitcoin, and that never changes, but you may start to think about putting more into Bitcoin. Let's say you are at 51%, maybe for this period of time, up to the Bitcoin cycle peak, you may want to go to 60, 70, 80%. I mean, that's your decision. So when is this going to happen? When? Well, in 2016, the turn happened in mid-June and the peak was in mid-December. So that is 6 months from the peak. Right now, we are in early May, and we're expecting the peak around mid to late September. So actually, we're now 4.5 months from the peak, and we haven't put in the turn yet. That means one of two things. Number one, it's not going to happen. Or number two, we are overdue and it's going to happen very soon. I do believe it's the latter. And the reason for that is our prediction of Bitcoin going from 56,000 where we are today to around $300,000. And that will look very similar to what happened in 2017, where Bitcoin, in relative terms, we were let's say around $3,000, and we went all the way up to $20,000. So expecting a similar move, and we're expecting that to happen very soon. When that does start happening, Bitcoin will no doubt outperform the altcoins, and that will be when Bitcoin dominance turns here and starts moving back up again. When that's going to happen exactly, we don't know. So for those looking to reallocate some into Bitcoin, you can do one of two things. You can be preemptive and start now, and particularly any altcoins that have gone up drastically, maybe those are the ones that you want to start selling down into Bitcoin. Or if you see some serious momentum right around now, you may take that opportunity to sell into that strength and move into Bitcoin. That's one way. Or two, you may hold horses and you may wait for confirmation. You may wait to see this turning up and Bitcoin starting to outperform altcoins. That may happen when we take out the all-time high, when we pass 64,000 and start going up again. I certainly expect that to happen in the not too distant future. And then at that point, it would make sense to have a larger proportion in Bitcoin. Looking at 2017, this period from mid-September to mid-December, so the last 3 months of the cycle, Bitcoin is going up. It just in 3 months, it went up 5 times, 5.5 times. So you certainly want to have a very healthy allocation to Bitcoin during that point. And then remember, that was our second phase. So that's when the Bitcoin dominance turns up and Bitcoin starts outperforming the altcoins. What happened in 2017 was when Bitcoin reached peak, then altcoins then had a massive pump versus Bitcoin. So if you've got a very healthy allocation to Bitcoin going into the peak, then you should achieve all of your goals. And then in 2017, what happened was the altcoins had a big pump straight after the Bitcoin cycle peak. Again, we can see that in the Bitwise chart here. And now we'll do some separate videos about that, because that may be an opportunity for some people. But just know that that is the third phase where altcoins drastically outperform Bitcoin, and you may or may not choose to participate in that because it's certainly risky. And then what's very clear from when that is finished, when the final capitulation of altcoins has taken place, then from early January until the beginning of the next cycle, or at least the beginning of the next alt season, then Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins. So what we really care about right now in early May 2021 is that I anticipate that we are close to this turning point. We've had altcoins outperforming Bitcoin and been doing really well. We've been following that very closely on the channel, and we are expecting at some point in the not too distant future for Bitcoin to take the lead, take center stage again, just like it did in the second half of 2020, take center stage and really start outperforming altcoins. And we are watching that closely because we want to be prepared for it mentally. We may want to adjust our portfolios in line with that. And it's also a fine strategy to have accumulated very good projects and to be holding them to the peak. So don't think that you have to do anything. Even during this period where Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins, in general, some altcoins, especially if they are legit projects that are doing real things and adding value and there's lots of positive coverage, some will still outperform Bitcoin. So it still makes sense to hold some if you truly believe in that project. But just be aware that the market dynamic, if we follow what happened in 2017, is due a shift, and that will be Bitcoin starting to make its move. Altcoins still going up, but just not going up as much as Bitcoin on the aggregate. We'll be looking at that into the peak, whether it's $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 Bitcoin. And then after the peak, we're looking for a quick altcoin pump which we'll be following closely as well, and then Bitcoin to outperform altcoins during the bear market. So I hope that that was a good explanation of Bitcoin dominance and how you can use it. Please take this away, do your own research. I will link to the Bitcoin dominance chart. I will also link to the Bitwise chart in the description. And I wish you the best of luck on this very, very exciting journey.